Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Stompers on Deck. This weekend, we have Matt Hibbert. And Matt Hibbert, we go back. We go back to about
Yeah, way back.
2016, 2015, 16.
I'll say 15 because I caught you at the tail end right before I left for Gary, and you was getting in, right?
Yeah. I remember we actually shared the same host family. And I remember that coming in. It was funny. It's kind of like a little, segment on just, our host family. Great family, very huge Stomper supporter. I remember though in the summers, that top floor, that top floor gets hot.
I think I told you that like right away when you came in, like, hey, bro, it's a little steamy up there, So
Yeah.
Come hydrated for sure.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember just hydrating a lot. Pedialytes were a big, or my favorite drink at the time, and I think a lot of times I would just try to stay out until it was time to come back and sleep and then go play.
Catch a meal and get to sleep. Yeah, you don't want to be hanging around too much. But no, great people, man. Without those type of people in independent baseball or professional baseball in general, like we don't go. So gotta love it.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, thank you for coming on. I mean, I think you just specifically as just an individual, not even. I mean, you're a great ball player, and I'll speak a little bit about your successes just in professional baseball, but just as an individual, I think what you model going from junior college, which is not an easy route, to then going to Long Beach State, and then really going to the grind of independent baseball, to then your journey to make it to affiliate ball, to then, whether that's pursuing Major League Baseball or, whatever the highest level, that your goal is. I think you really embody just the work ethic, the grind, and just perseverance. And in a time like this, when there's so much unknown and people don't know what to do, right? I think you're just a perfect person to talk about, just your life and, how you persevered to hopefully give people insight of just continuing to push forward, when you can't really see the finish line. And I think, so thank you again for jumping.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate you, man, for sure. All those words, but let's get into it, whatever we got.
Yeah, so the first start to this all, I mean, I think, just your transition, to choosing junior college. Like, well, why did you choose junior college? I think a lot of kids right now missing their senior year have a decision to make. Do you go to a 4-year and decide not to play sports, or do you go to junior college?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to say about that route and, what it puts in you. But I think a lot of it's not even by choice sometimes. And there's a choice to go there. But, like, we have goals of going to, Division I, doing this, doing that. And we're, high school players, prep players. But, some reason or another, you end up, you get a JUCO opportunity. And some people may overlook that, just because of, the notion of JUCO. But, I mean, you look over, history. So many JUCO ball players have made it to the big leagues and, go on to Division I baseball or whatever, whatever, just the next level, because you have to grind for yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some great programs out there, no doubt, but, it really becomes about what you need to do to get better, and there's a lot of programs that put you in places to do that, but there's some that are kind of hands off and you have to kind of figure out the grind for yourself. So for me, it was just about, I wanted to play, and I kind of saw that, if I went to Division II or Division III, just the ones that I had visited, possibly to go to, I felt like I was already kind of like one of the better players out there. And, how would my development go from there? And I just felt like with the JUCO route, I could give myself another chance to be recruited and, open up, doors of opportunity for me that I couldn't have if I was kind of locked into a school.
And so did you do 2 years there, 1 year?
Shoot, I actually did 2. Well, the real story is I actually would have done 3 in JUCO because I redshirted my very first year. I went to a Chandler Gilbert Community College, which is in Arizona, out of high school. I graduated pretty young. I was 17. And at that time, there's draft and follow. So our school was big for draft and follow. So we had a lot of guys, like a lot of, some of the best players in Arizona were going there. And, I thought I was ready to go. They thought I was kind of, maybe third on the depth chart. I was playing second base. So, they're like, gave me the option to redshirt. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I took that year to get better. And then you start to see the separation, you're not with the team fully, like you're down in the cages during practice, you're not in all the drills and stuff. So I started to see like, okay, I got to grind for mine. So, worked out. I got an opportunity to play in a California Collegiate League, which is South Bay Saints. They played at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And, I had some guys on that team that were from local JUCOs down in SoCal, El Camino, LA Harbor, and kind of made my decision from there. I was going to go to LA Harbor and moved out to California, and, I started the JUCO route there, so a little different. You go from using wood bat to metal bat. But, yeah, definitely don't regret any of that, man. It gave me another opportunity, and then from there I could project other places.
So when you went to LA Harbor Community College, right?
Yeah.
What was the transition? Just hey, you're going to be a guy for us. You're playing second base. Because a little hint to the future where you became a Gold Glove center fielder. But at this point, you're playing second base.
Yep.
You always have speed. So did LA Harbor just say, hey, we want you to be our starting second baseman?
So I was a second baseman by trade, like, all through my youth. I was playing second base, shortstop, but mainly like I had second base I was locked into. That's when I went to that Chandler Gilbert Community College for. So I had it in my mind I'm a second baseman. So I'm out there, I'm a second baseman. I played the whole summer as a second baseman, played well. So, but yeah, the guy told me I was going to have to come in and compete right away. Hey, heard some good things about you, based from teammates and whatnot of yours that, you played with during summer ball. And, he's like, yeah, you got to come in and compete. Like, I've never seen you play. So right away, I was in the mix, but, it wasn't handed to me by no means. Like, I wasn't even the opening day second baseman,
yeah.
So by game 2, he gave me the nod, and I balled out a little bit. So, you know how it is. It's like in any new scene, any new team, it's like they're waiting for you to crack. Yeah, you could be this, you could have hype, you could be, oh, we think this dude's good, but it's like until you show, that's when the opportunities came after that, and that's when I kind of locked in a starting spot. But nothing was given to me at all. I had to earn it all through the fall. You play all those games, you play other schools. We're playing D2s, D3s for our fall. You're playing Chapman. You're playing local schools. So you're playing some dudes. So, but yeah, no, everything had to be earned for sure.
Yeah, and that was a big part why I wanted you to, specifically just talk about that beginning experience, because even though you transferred, it wasn't like, hey, Matt, you're going to be our starting second baseman here to lead off. And I think that even adds, again, to just the story, because most kids right now, they just lost their senior season, right? And this last year is kind of their big year to really put themselves on the map to go D1, D2, D3, wherever may have you. But I just even wanted to even highlight that even when you get there, it's the next mountain to climb. It's not just you're in there.
You got to think about how many ball players are around. You know what I mean? Like, you're talking about in different areas, different parts of the nation, and how many kids want to play at the next level. So any situation you get to, you're going to have to beat out 2 to 3 people, and probably, similar, level as you. It's like, well, what are the things that separate yourself from, how you separate from them. So, but yeah, no, great point. Is like, I'm sure for you, nothing was ever like, all right, bro, it's your spot. Like, you may be the favorite guy, but it's your job to lose. You have guys nipping at your heels all the time. They're on you. They're like, all right, I see how you're doing things. You might be the guy right now, but I'm coming for you,
So to jump just a little bit, then we'll go back to this. So with the Stompers, you had a 25 bag year, then you followed it with 32, and then you had 36. So when you were in junior college, were you always stealing bases?
I would say I was like I think I had 15 my first year, and then I had like 18 my second, maybe 18 to 20. So, I was going, but I feel like looking back, I could have ran more, Now knowing what I know,
Talking like a
And like
true selling, you know,
the
somebody.
the confidence I feel, you know, like when I get off that bag is different. But you know, because you learn. I think my first year I got caught maybe 8 times or something like that. Maybe you know, I would say maybe half of them were bad calls. Is how we think of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would say that developed through the years. You know, like I could always run, but base stealing is an entirely different thing. You know what I mean? It's instinctual. It's, you know, it's informational. So I think once I got locked into those type of things, along with, you know, crafting of, you know, my move and all that, like that's where you know, it really started to go.
So then here you are, your second year. You're coming to a close. You know, how did Long Beach State come along? Were there multiple schools? How did this work?
Yeah, I mean, so actually going into my sophomore year of junior college, you know, I was on like some watch lists and stuff for the nation, you know, like a couple of publications and whatnot. But I don't know if, you know, I think, you know, me and my junior college coach, like we had a good relationship, but I think he was, you know, he was always consistently trying to challenge me and which was good. So I'm not sure if you're familiar, but they have like a JUCO All-Star game in the fall for California kids. And you got about 3 guys from each school that go. I'm like, I'm in there, you know what I mean? Like I'm in there. And then, you know, probably a week before he tells me, you know, because we had other sophomores that were good, but I thought I was the best one. And he tells me I'm not in the game, and I'm like, what are we talking about? You know, you're playing at Irvine, and you know, there's scouts all in the stands. You know, guys are getting, you know, handed scholarships because of how they play in this game, and I wasn't in it. I'm in the stands with the coaches, watching them talk about my teammates and whatnot. So like, you know, I felt a certain type of way about that, you know, and like, but you know, anyways. I thought that was an opportunity, you know, but like I actually ended up talking to a coach there, and we built a relationship. So actually, Southern Utah University, they're no longer around their baseball program, but at that time, they were Division I school. They were actually my first offer officially, and I got that in the fall. You know, I was like, I'm gonna keep my options open. You know, I don't really, you know, I like, you know, it's good to have one, but I had other schools that I was liking more for sure. So I had good contact with UNLV. But pretty much it was open, you know. I mean, after my junior year, I remember my sophomore year, I led the team in average and whatnot, but I wouldn't say I was highly touted then either. Long Beach came about late in the summer. My junior college coach had a relationship with Andy Rojo, who was the recruiting coordinator at Long Beach State, and they had a couple of spots open. Like they hadn't filled their whole class. They had a couple guys get drafted, so some things changed up where they had about, you know, 2 to 3 spots open, and knew that they were going to be preferred walk-on spots, you know, non-money spots. But they ended up taking myself and our catcher, who was also from our junior college. His name is Juan Favela. So we both ended up going over there, you know, committing in a sense, but, you know, no money, but like, you know, you're going to be on with us. You're going to have a chance. You know, I mean, you're with the team. You're not playing no club ball, like you're with the squad. So, you know, you're going to have every opportunity to compete for a spot. So, you know, fast forward, you know, start talking to Andy Rojo. We go back and forth. Playing during the summer, but, you know, I actually go back home to Arizona. You know, I would say one of my not bigger regrets, but I wish I would have gone out and played that right after my junior college year. I should have gone and played like in one of those leagues, but for some reason I was like, you know, I'm gonna go home, get right, get healthy, and figure out when I'm gonna go to college, make some money. You know, you start thinking about grown man stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I was like, I stayed working, and Andy Rojo called me. He's like, you know, I want to see you play. I could be in Scottsdale. I had kind of, you know, played with some teams, but I told him, hey, you know, I got a Long Beach guy coming to watch me. I need to get on the field, and you know, came out and watched me play. I had a pretty good game. I had a couple knocks, stole a bag, you know, made some plays at second base, and you know, he pretty much gave me the opportunity to walk on after that, and I accepted, and we got the ball rolling, you know. So I knew right away, you know, it was gonna be another competition thing. Like, number one, you're going to Long Beach State, and then you're not on any money, so knew right away it was gonna be work. So
That's the Big West. That's the Big West, right?
Big West, and I think they had gone into a little bit of slide, but I mean, we're talking, you know, draft picks, you know, guys all over the Cape Cod. So, you know,
Evan Longoria, Troy Tulowitzki, right?
yeah, shortstop you. So
I mean, it's still the Dirtbags. I mean, they're a well-known program, and you know, even then, you know, just to highlight again, it's like that next step. It's like you got there, but your preferred walk-on wasn't handed to you. Um, and then, just let's just touch upon a little bit of your 2 seasons there, because I'm sure that's another experience. Now you're
Man,
at Palm Beach State. Now they know who you are. They can see you play, but how well can Matt Hibbert play? What can he do for us?
right. Yeah, no, that's the question, and you're going in and, I was going in to play second base, and we had a freshman returning who was a starter, so he's a sophomore now, and he hit like 300. So I'm like, dang, he's already, he's a guy, So I was really just trying to find my way. I get on the campus, everything's kind of new, you're getting adjusted to classes, and basically right when you get there, you're starting up. You're starting those fall workouts, individuals, what they call them. What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're out there in shorts, but you're getting going. It's full go. Everything's green. Everything's green light. Oh, they're watching everything.
Yeah.
Watching everything, and how fast you can pick things up. And to be honest, man, like my first fall, it was spinning. Like it was just fast. Like everything was fast. Like everybody was faster. That guys are throwing harder.
Yeah.
Balls are going further. Balls are getting hit harder at me. It's like everything sped up.
Yeah.
Everything sped up. And I just like I just felt my wheels turning, you know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't say until dang near end of October, November, like I could slow the game down, like where I was, in our scrimmages, playing like me. I'm like, okay, I'm here. Whereas before, I was like kind of, I could be honest with myself now. I was like tiptoeing around. I was trying to make people. I was trying to make coaches happy. I was trying to do everything that was done. I wasn't being myself. I wasn't being me. You know what I mean? I think once you become yourself in any situation, that's that's the best form of your best form of performance and all that. So, but yeah, the wheels were spinning. It was an adjustment for sure.
So do you think that was kind of like the next pinnacle moment for your athletic career, that you realized I have to be me, like regardless of what I do? Like October, my fall of your junior year at Long Beach State, was like, all right, I'm here. This is what I'm doing.
It didn't, what I mean? That whole year was like that, right? So, you got the fall. I wouldn't say – I didn't put myself on the map to be like, oh, I'm a guy going into the season, right? Like, so, you have that fall period and you go into winter, right? And you have that break off of school. Your guys go home. They give you your program. Like, this is what we want you to do, how we want you to come back. Because when we come back in January, we're hitting the ground running. Opening days –
February, right?
February, second week of February for everybody. So you have about 5 weeks, 6 weeks to put on to even give yourself a chance. And I feel like I played good in those scrimmages and whatnot, but like everything was kind of set in stone for me. Yeah. So I become basically, a guy who doesn't travel. I'm on the roster, but
yeah.
I mean? I don't feel like I'm a part of it. I'm practicing every day with the team. I'm waking up to go to weight room. I'm in study hall. I'm doing all these things, but when these games come, I'm right here with it. That's when I was working on, having the Oakleys nice and just, really deep. And, I was into the game, but like, I was like, dang, I'm down there on the depth chart for sure. And I would say some moments that were like, that really hit me. So, you're playing Big West ball, but we play all Pac-10 schools at that time, Pac-12 now, and that's home for me, going to Arizona State, going to Arizona, and I'm a Long Beach guy, so they're checking for the schedule. You're coming home, right? I'm having to tell people, I'm not on this trip. I'm like, yeah, hey, those ones, so you deal with your pride, like, because it's, it's part of your pride that, I'm at Long Beach, so I'm here, like, and you want to like kind of like, show that and people see that, and it's like, okay, but that ain't it, bro. Just being on the squad ain't it. Like, I got to put myself on a different level and be a guy, so that was it was a definitely a year of just, breaking myself down, and I had to find myself. So, they go on those trips to Oregon State, UNLV, and I'm not on them. Well, you're at home at the crib. I can use the field, so I was just getting working. I was in the cage, and I was just like getting my own swing down, just like mad. I'm mad, but
Yeah,
it's fueling the fire to become this worker, you know. And I would say that's when I dove into like myself, you know what I mean? Like being by myself and just, I got to get better right now. Like point blank period. I have these goals, but these goals don't even become accomplishable if you're not even on the field. So, you know, that's why I really went into the vault and just started getting it in for myself. So, you know, I go through that whole year. I get to the very end of the season, and they start playing me. Like our head coach, which is Mike Weathers at that time. You know, he's a legend. You know, coach Team USA. You know, so he's the one that actually coached Tulo,
yeah,
Longo, all those guys. So I got the very end of his era. My end of my junior year was his last year. He announced to us, like, you know, I'm stepping down with the program. I'm going to give it to our interim, which is, you know, Coach Troy Buckley, who was our pitching coach at the time. And, you know, he's on his way out. So, ding, ding, okay, there's opportunity here. Like, there's going to be some turnover. You know what I mean? Like, we're coming off of a disappointing year. I think we were like, you know, 8 games under 500, you know, not a dirtbag year, you know. And it was just like, it was a bad year for us. So, knew there was going to be change. And, you know, there's those practices at the end of the year that actually meant something. Yeah, we were way out of the race, but I was playing for my next job. You know, like we literally had a 10-hour practice one day. Our new coach took over. He basically wanted to see who was going to be with it. You know what I mean, for the next year.
yeah.
And you know, you had guys leaving early, doing this, whatever. Like I stayed all 10 of them hours, bro. Like I was in the infield, I was in the outfield. Like I was just there. I was just like, let's play baseball. So I think all that propelled, you know, for the next year where, you know, I was able to do some things and get on. But yeah, junior year is trying year. You know, it's the year that you're supposed to be on. I was off. I was I was on the bench for sure. So yeah, yeah, man. Go ahead. You know,
And then your senior year was that the year. Was that the year you ended up connecting with, you know, later down the road, a future Stomper teammate as well? But is that the Brendan Metzger year?
so yeah, I mean, I met Brendan the junior year, right? He was in the outfield, I'm in the infield, but I'm just watching this dude just do. He did his thing, man. Like we had a bunch of, like I said, Cape Cod guys, like guys who were, you know, projected to do some things, and you know, you see Metzger out there, and he's out there balling, and he ended up taking the center field job from some really talented dudes who are still doing it at a high level. But you know, at that time, he was a guy, and I saw him do that as a sophomore. So transition to my senior year, right? I get called into the office. Coach Buckley's like, "Hey, man, if you want to play, you in the outfield." So that's where me and this guy Brendan really got a hold, and he kind of gravitated towards me right when I became an outfielder. You know, kind of showed me the ropes, the transition. I think a lot of my play in the outfield, I can attest to him and how he did things, and just watching him, you know, approach ground balls, you know, get through balls to throw, you know, go make plays in the gap. I'm like, dang, that looks fun. Like, you know, that just running around in the grass. So me and him clicked up, and, you know, the rest is history. But, you know, we were able to kind of do some good things in that outfield our senior year, lock it down. And I think that's where we personified this whole jet life thing that we talk about all the time. That's where it started. It was actually 2011. So, but yeah, man.
I was gonna ask when did that slogan come to be, and that was 2011 Jet Life.
2011 Jet Life. You know, we had just about 4 outfielders out there. Jeff McNeil would come out and play outfield sometimes. You know, big leaguer with the Mets right now, and he was a freshman when I was a senior. And we just kind of, you know, I think I made it up. It was kind of just from some music I was listening to, but I was like, man, we Jet Life out here. Like, we patrol all this. You know, it's a big outfield. You know, we got to run this. You know, no balls drop, nothing. So we just started, you know, getting Jet Life breaks, and then we basically anytime anyone made a dope play, diving play, throw somebody out, oh, that's Jet Life right there. You know, count it. You know, so that's how we started it right there.
And that's everything that I think people really love about sports and that team atmosphere is that you start to build these. I mean, you're building relationships with your teammates, and you know you're connecting. And sports are still stressful and mentally trying. You know, you just hear your story. It's not easy, but these are the moments that naturally will bring a smile to anybody, right? Just these little, you know. I know when you and I played, it was very similar, and just in terms of, you know, making things up that just kept everything easy and fun. And
got to keep it light, man. Got to keep it light. So, you know, we know it's a tough game, bro. Adversity is always hitting you, but you got to remember, you're playing baseball, you're having fun, you're out here with your brothers, and they were going through the same thing too, man. Like, we all come from different backgrounds, but when you in the grind of the everyday, like, we're all in this thing together, you know?
So now you're playing a lot. Your senior year. Now your family's calling you. You're at Arizona State. Now you're traveling. Now they're calling you. You're on the program. They can see you. You're on the field, right? So now you're
Yeah.
like, I'm a dirtbag, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm here now. The drive comes, right? And I think like every Division I athlete, you're probably tuned in. You're probably looking just to see, is there a chance? Can I get signed free agent? Who knows, right?
Right.
So then that process goes through. At this point, right, the draft doesn't work out. Then what was the mindset? What made you continue to play? Why didn't you necessarily just go the route of getting your quote unquote, your job?
Big boy job. Yeah, man. Just break that down quickly as possible. Like, I was playing a lot. I was basically a starter. I ended up leading the team in batting average that year. 293, first year of the dead bats. You know what I'm saying? BB core head. Like,
with those.
Yeah. My senior
BB
year, we got
core.
the BB cores. Tough, but banged out a 293. All Big West honorable mention. So pretty surprising to most people, even my head coach. So you have your end of the year meetings, right? Like, no matter what, like your exit meetings. So calls me in and he's like, if anybody told me that you were going to lead our team in average at the beginning of the year, I would have told them they're crazy. But here you are, man. You know what I mean? You did it. Like, we couldn't keep you out the lineup. Like, you did this. You did this yourself. And I was like, he's like, I don't anticipate you getting drafted. I haven't heard anything. And he basically asked me, like, what was going to be my future, like what I wanted to do. And like, I had already made up my mind, like, I'm playing no matter what. Like, of course, yeah, yeah, man, I led Long Beach State in average. Like, I should be getting drafted. If someone saw me, right? Somebody saw me. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen for me. Maybe a little bit too late, whatever. Whatever it was, it didn't happen. So I decided then, like, I'm not done. I have something to prove. Like, I feel like I really only had 1 year on that stage. Give me another year. Give me 2 years of consistency. Yeah, it could be a different story. But I had one. So to me, that was enough to be like, okay, I can play at the highest level. Like, I done seen this guy that just got picked in the first rounds. I done faced him, got knocks off him. So, like, that's first round. Okay, like, let's go. That was enough for me. Yeah, and then another thing I could just remember, my head coach, like, we had a meeting towards the end of the year, just as a team, and he, like, kind of shouted me out, and he's like, in Hibbert, like, I don't think he'll be playing, at the next level, but look how he's just going about. He's, he's in it daily and stuff. And I was like, he was giving me a compliment, but at the same time, I just felt like, oh, that's a challenge. You know what I mean? Like, that's a challenge. Like, okay, like you're going to see me keep playing. Yeah. So just those little things right there, like, that was my fuel. Like, I didn't feel like I was done. I just kind of started getting to my peak. I just started to figure out how to play the game the right way. Like, it was too much too soon for me not to keep it going. That's how I looked at it.
Yeah. So then that year, you graduated what year?
2011. So I got my degree in communication studies. So, like, I had got my degree, like, college was over, like, I was like, it's like big boy job or, keep pursuing this baseball dream. And, yeah, went to, like, an open tryout in Detroit, just like independent camp, and it was like, all right, but guys from all over, and played pretty decent. But, they sent me to another camp in Yuma. It was just like, you start to see how the business started to work. You're not aware of it at that time, but, like, they're like, oh, you play good, we'll send you to this camp.
Pay some money there. Pay some money.
Yeah.
Next one.
Get your career started. And, like, I'm trying to get my career started. So you do what you got to do. And lucked out. 2011. I went down to Yuma for 3 weeks. It was like what they call it. It was like a summer professional league, kind of like California Winter League. It was the Arizona Summer League, is what they called it, actually. So you're down there for 3 weeks. Dudes from all over. They separate you into different teams. And you basically play every day, playing in 115. Just like, man, Do I really want to?
But that's home though, so maybe a little used to it.
I mean, down there, you ain't home, but Arizona, yeah. But I hadn't played in the summer at home in a while, so it was just like, man, like, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So it ended up working out. I got picked up by the Chico Outlaws, first pro team up in Northern California, not around no more. But
Daniel Nava played for the Chico Outlaws.
Daniel Nava, and I had a couple like Demetrius Banks, throwback. D Banks was on that team.
Lefty.
Yep, lefty from Vallejo. That was my first pro experience. So, guys who, you'd see later down the line, I'm in there. So I lucked out in that sense, but once again, not something that was given to me. I had to earn every part of that.
So then just at that point, now you start your indie ball career with the Chico Outlaws. I just want to fast forward just a couple years later, right?
Yep.
And the inaugural year of the Sonoma Stompers of 2014, and
Yep.
you were part of that team.
Yep.
So how did that, who reached out to you to then be a Stomper?
Shoot, man, that story goes pretty much. That was 2014. Me and Mike Jackson Jr. We go to spring training in Rockford, Illinois. Rockford Aviators was the name of the team, managed by James Frisbee. Frontier League. We didn't make the squad. We didn't make it out of spring training. For whatever reason. So we're like, trying to figure it out. So me and him get in the car. We drive down to Mike Jackson Sr.'s house down in Houston. Put us up for a few days, and we're figuring it out. Mike's already in communication with Sonoma. I guess he knew Casey Dill, who had been maybe the first manager there.
Yeah.
So he gets an opportunity right away. Goes out there at the start, 2014 at the start. I go back to Arizona for like about a month. Ray Serrano ends up getting the job as the manager. I played against Ray when in Hawaii. He played for Maui. I played for the Hawaii Stars. So, I had played against him. He had seen me make some plays in the gap, see my speed. So we had a relationship. I robbed him a few times, and he was like, okay, Poppy, So, like, he remembered me. He hits me up right away. He's like, all right, I need a month. Like, you give me, let's get these guys 30 at bats. We'll see what's going on. But, like, I want you to come up here to Sonoma, but stay ready. I'm like, all right. Stayed working out. Phone call came in, just like you said, a month later. And I think it was a month into the season. We hadn't played our home opener for Sonoma yet. First game at Arnold hadn't happened. I remember they played like the first part of the season all on the road. So I get there just before they're about to have the home opener. So I get on for the very first game at Arnold Field. Now, I think that's one of my better memories, like to see that place at capacity, to see the football stands full. It was cool. I don't know how many was there, maybe about 2K or something like that. I heard it was a lot of people, but it was the first game against San Rafael Pacifics at home, and it was lit. It was a cool atmosphere in Sonoma for sure.
Yeah, nothing's better than playing in front of a packed stadium. I mean, just the energy. You're making a diving play. I mean, the oohs, the ahs, home runs that are hitting off bleachers or into the trees, and people are cheering. I mean, I think that's a big reason that kind of that emotion that keeps pushing us to play even when we're tired day in and day out. It's just that the atmosphere and energy. It's
people energy, like you said. It's people energy. Like when I'm saying when you catch a barrel and you can hear like people like making a noise of that, like oh snap, like it's a different feeling. It gives us energy when we don't necessarily have it on the day to day. When you get that crowd or people supporting you.
So another thing, just now that we're in Sonoma Stompers, time now, and now you're able to play. Kind of the history kind of tells itself, and you become a staple in center field. Again, just how I read off before, you're starting to have 26, 32, 36 stolen bases, year in and year out. So people know you're a threat. At this point, the league was only playing 72 games in a season. So you're getting a stolen base one every other game, right?
Yeah.
One every other game. So people know, your value and what you're doing in center field. You're not dropping the ball. Again, this is when, jet life just continued and, nothing was falling. Everybody knew Matt Hibbert and what you've done. I really want to hear a story of just kind of what you think was just a big moment that you just will always remember in Sonoma? I know you said a little bit the first day, but was there another big moment that you can recall your time here?
Man, obviously our 2016 year. I would, that was the year. We brought home the ship, and it was to no avail. I feel like we might have even had more talented teams at other points. Even our 2015 extremely talented. Kind of got dismembered by guys getting picked up and whatnot. And same with 2017. I thought that was about as legit of a team as you could have. Across the board.
Pretty
And,
dominant that year.
Yeah, we're real dominant, real dominant. But something about that 2016 team down that stretch, man, it was like, nothing could phase us. You know what I'm saying? It was like we had one mission, and when it was just win, by any means. And it was so selfless. Guys weren't concerned about where they were going, what their numbers were. It's just like, let's go do this, bro. We got one goal, and that's coming off. I know there's questions coming up, but I would say one of my more disappointing moments in the moment was getting sent back to Sonoma, right? When that whole concept of promotion, demotion, whatever, right? So I make it out to Gary 2015. In 2015, get myself a job for the next year, start the year in Gary.
In the American Association, right?
American Association, Gary South Shore Railcats. And start off pretty good. I get hit in the face by a pitch. Kind of deters my route there. I'm on the DL for 7 days, kind of come off, and I'm not 100%, but I'm like, I gotta play because next guy's coming.
Baseball, yeah.
Yeah, next guy's coming in, and I struggled a little bit, and I ended up getting traded. Manager called me one morning. We're about to go on a road trip, out of town, hopping on buses, doing all that. He said, "Hey, I got some news for you. I'm sending you back to Sonoma in exchange for Matt Patron." And at the time, man, I'm distraught. Like in my mind, I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
That's the feeling, right? But to me, that led to one of my bigger blessings in professional baseball. Like if I don't accept that challenge of going back there and bringing the team together and whatnot, like I don't have a ring. We don't have a ring. So together. So like that was a moment for me that like, okay, another moment of just, all right, what you gonna do? The pride's out the window. You're gonna handle this the right way. And I felt like I kind of got selfless in the sense of like, I'm here for the team. It wasn't my greatest year. I think I hit 270. I think I had a bomb and like 25 RBIs or something. I had 20-something bags, but it was, I could be better than that. But at the same time, I was selfless. I just want to make plays for my team and just win, bring that championship home. So obviously that's got to be the greatest moment, actually bringing that home. But there's so much in between there. So many times, so many things that built to that, and then post us winning, we had the target on the back. We're the best team, and we still did it. We still balled. We came up short in the championship, which is unfortunate. Still one of the tougher memories. Still dream about it. Still think about it. Certain pitches that what I could have done and different moments in that game. But just still being able to keep up that level of play when everyone knew who we were and what we were going to bring day in, day out,
There's a moment, that always sticks out to me. And for people that don't know, you and I, your transition kind of back from Gary, we became, we were roommates. And so you and I spent a lot of time in, me in my young career being able to just, see how you've gone about things and how you persevered and learned from you. And on top of that, I think always being a little vocal and always having my own opinion, right? I say that to say that we talked about hitting a lot. We've probably spent hours in the cage, on the field, and at the house with an imaginary plate and bat in our hand, just talking about swing plane, swing down, swing up, middle, bring your hands to the ball. No, I don't think that's it.
Right.
I mean, we spent so many hours, and just the story that I always remember. It was a late night here in Sonoma, and we were down. You came up to the plate, and we were talking about hitting. And of course, we went into one of our moments where like, oh yeah, I got it. Like this is it. and that at bat, up and in pitch, pow! I mean, as soon as you hit it, everybody knew. It was the bottom of the ninth. Everybody knew the ball was out, and it ended up being a walk-off home run. But just kind of thinking of all the different obstacles, and just talking of just hitting itself, and that moment, it just feels great. Really,
Right.
it's just
Right.
so. Anyhow,
That just it just goes. I was lucky to have you. Kind of being there to challenge, and we would just talk, bounce things off each other. And like there would be things, and I would be able to learn from you. You know what I mean, about how your approach was and things how you went about your business, right? And we do all that to go through some struggles, but to have that one moment where, it felt so easy. You know what I mean? Like I just remember that moment just feeling like I didn't even do anything. Like it was just like, I took my swing the way I needed to, and that ball just went. You know what I mean? It just like disappeared, and it's like I didn't feel nothing. Even as I'm running around the bases, I'm like, dang, I just did that. And, you get to home and everyone's splashing you down. It's like first time I ever felt that in my career, especially in a walk-off homer fashion. So, I completely agree with you, man. It's like those nights that you have with the teammates, or even in your own mind where you're just, you're toiling through, you're figuring things out, like, is this, what, but that one moment where it clicks for you, that one cue, and then it's just easy. And I remember seeing you in your zones. Like there was times where I'm like, this kid can't get out. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything you did was stung. Like I remember you just owning pitchers that like dudes would struggle with. And I remember Sammy Gravasio was being one of those people. Like he shut down the league. Like he was, doing it with the antics and everything. Like, like
legs and
throwing the ball up. His last pitch, he threw it up in the air. Like, I think Molo turned around, he didn't even see that. He's like, all right, he's done. And he just, go up there and smack him, and it's just like, how did you do that? Like, and you're like, bro, I'm up there looking for the slider. I'm up there looking for one pitch. Like, I don't care if he throws a fastball. I'm like, man, I bet. So, like, things like that, bro. You're just always bouncing things off each other. The approach is always changing. Like, I got to take a different approach to this guy, to that guy. You start to figure that out. It's like, you got to get outside of yourself sometimes. Like, I think sometimes as hitters we get so stubborn, like this is my way, and you don't take in information from other people. It's like it can be all helpful, but it has to become you in a sense, right? But how else can you become you if you're not constantly ready to hear information, right? You take it in. I'm gonna take the good out of that. The rest is gone.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think for young athletes, high school going to college, and I think even collegiate and professional athletes, it's the ability to listen to somebody's opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean that you want or that you need to use it, but just there might be one piece that just makes sense, and it just adds to your game to improve. And I think that's kind of the epitome of your career really has just been allowing yourself to just absorb what's happening and adjust and improve. That is, I relate the game of baseball to life so much because this game is about failure, but more importantly, how you continue to progress through that failure. And I think if anything, a time now when you're having you're going through a pandemic, right? And there's no foreseeable future of a result of what's supposed to come next, right? But we all know that we need to keep cleaning our hands, and when you're in public, make sure your face is covered, because this is the process to then get to where you need to. And I think it's just the same thing with baseball, that there's a certain process of you regularly getting up, being in the gym, being in the cages, being on the field, and you just have to trust that process even when you're 0 for 10. Even when you're 0 for 10, more importantly, you have to come back that next day like, today's my day.
Right. And not carrying things over, like you said. I mean, it's going to test you, but just operating out of a state of faith, man. I think it goes back to that. Is like, you don't see the outcome. We don't see, we have these goals, but they're really fluid. You know what I mean? Like I have this I have this thing I want to get to, right? But this path that I think I'm gonna get there. It's going to change for sure. Within that, do I stay grounded in me? Do I stay, learning? Am I still receptive? And that's completely up to you. But I'm not gonna operate out of like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I'm gonna be like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna go for it, because within that, I think that's where the actual growth is. And this is a great time to test everybody, man. Like, as a baseball player, as a high school kid that just got a senior year banged, and in some cases might, next year we don't know what's gonna happen. It's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna continue to work? You gonna craft yourself, because the gates are gonna open. Like, it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna be very easy to see what people did.
100%, 100%, right? I don't think there's any time to kind of dwell and there are bad things happening.
Oh yeah.
I think that's safe to acknowledge, but at the same time, there is no time to stop. It's all about self development. Your time at Long Beach State, when your junior year, you're hitting the cages by yourself. Frankly, it's I did the same thing. When I was in college. But to kind of transition from that point, and because I really want to highlight this part of I know one of your hardest moments, was playing in the American Association with Gary Railcats, and then coming back, but then winning a championship, but then still having that chip on your shoulder, like I was just there, right? And but the things I want to also highlight, you did end up playing in the Atlantic League, which, guys are getting picked up left and right, to affiliate ball. You have played in the American Association. So, kind of if you were to just describe the different levels, of talent and atmosphere and all that of each league, what are
Yeah.
the differences?
Man, just starting from the top, or what I would deem as your most veteran league. You got guys, all through the big leagues, AAA. Like, this is their livelihood. Like, they got paid big bucks to play this game. And are still playing. So that's that's in the Atlantic League. That's where I think that's where the professionalism. Like, I already had an amount of professionalism, but to now see it like characterizes, people's families and livelihoods. Like, this is their plate. So I got to see that aspect of, they're traveling with their family. It's bigger than just the game at that point. And, a lot of that. So, but very veteran league. I feel like you learn how to be a professional there. You're showing up. You have a routine you stick with, and even for when I was in the Atlantic League, I was with the Road Warriors and the Lancaster Barnstormers. I had to take two different approaches. You being on the road is all the time is much different. You have to find your way. You got to find the time in the cage. You got to find the weight room on the road. In Lancaster, we have the weight room right there. Everything's kind of set up. So, but yeah, being around those type of guys who have been in so many places and made money all over across the world, you start to see, okay, that's why. Like, this guy is consistent with his work. He's consistent with what he does. Whether he was 0 for 4 or 4 for 4, I'm not really being able to tell the difference. Like, I don't think you see as much of like the up and down of emotions based on results in that type of league. Guys they're just there to get after it, work their process. They succeed. If they fail, they're coming back tomorrow ready to get after it. So, got to see definitely how that affiliated mindset, that big league mindset, how it's really characterized in that league. American Association, I'd say it's like in that between. Now it's getting more, veteran-like, obviously with things changing. But, you had guys that were just right in AA, right in AAA yesterday. They're coming in with chips on their shoulders. You got guys who got overlooked at Michigan State. They didn't get drafted, but they're out there to prove something. They might have they might hit 340. So they're out there balling. So that league's definitely highly competitive. Great level of play. But at the same time, man, bringing down the Pacific Association, not down, but like, you have those guys that would end up in our league, and they would bring that professionalism to our league. I found that there's the level of play, the type of baseball you see, like, it's not far off, but just the consistency factor, guys being able to execute what they want to do more often than not. That's what you would see, in the Atlantic and American Association. But as far as the pack goes, man, like, I don't know, man. I always accredit it to being a high level of baseball, man. When you're playing 4 teams consistently, you know each other, they know you. 4 to 6 teams, it makes for tough. And I think 2017 was a great indicator of that year. I think that was like a high talented year. Lot of veteran guys, and they're playing each other all the time. So the adjustments got to happen, frequently. So, but yeah, that's the range I would give it. You just see more consistency as you get to those, the Atlantic League, American Association. But, that's not taking anything away from, what we have in the pack.
Yeah, 2017, I think that was a year in and year out. We've faced teams that I've felt have always been highly talented. Where we had Aaron Miles in Pittsburgh, who was always recruiting,
Guys,
double-A,
straight
high-A
guys.
players. I mean, coming off the bump, 95 to 98. It's a high level of baseball. I think to a point, what was tough for us is that we didn't have the brand new stadium lights, right? But
The
you have guys,
resources, yeah.
but you have guys still throwing 95, which makes a different sound when you're at the plate.
Oh yeah.
So then you have to, and you're facing people like, Sammy Gervasio, who was in the big leagues, who has a wipeout slider, right? But I love to hear just, players who made it to that high level, to really see what the difference is. And what I'm hearing, it's just about consistency, that, the talent's there, from the top, from the more veteran leagues to the younger leagues, the talent's there. It's about consistency of how they're putting it to paper.
I think, like you said, I think that's how you can just compare the leagues. It's just like a level of experience. I mean, the game is the game. Baseball is baseball. You got to catch it. You got to throw it. Those guys have just done it for more years in different places, but that's not to say like, oh man, his stuff's better. Like, there's guys doing some, throw that thing in the pack. But just like you said, it's all about them being able to do what they want to do when they want to do it. Bottom line.
Yeah. One other guy that I always remember. I've always wanted to be a speed guy, which I've never been able to do. And so I'd always watch players like you, and there's another guy who always stood out to me, Darren Sanford.
Yeah.
Right. I remember watching this guy this year. I think this was 2015. I was playing shortstop. I think it was a two-hopper to short, hit the high grass in Vallejo. Bang, bang, safe. And I think he ended up going on that year and stealing 100 bags. But
yeah, it was 99, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I always looked at my bags as like, man, I didn't steal nothing, because I had that guy steal. I stole 35. He stole 99. Like, every time he was on base, it was 2 bags. Like, and I actually got a chance to play with him, man, and learn like his mentality. Like, I'm going, bro. Like, I don't care. Like situation doesn't matter. Like, I'm going, and he was that fast too. So
yeah, how his legs never got tired. It's amazing. It's just, he would always, every step was just a good step. It didn't matter. He may not always felt that way, but
he swears by his box jumps. You keep those legs active, bro. You're good every day. But yeah, that's a good friend of mine. To this day, and we always talk about that. But yeah, exactly. Like, that's when you realize, okay, like, there's speed everywhere. Like, this dude, he's a guy. Like, I don't know if there's many people faster than him in the league today, So, and from there, from Vallejo, what did he do? He went to the Atlantic League, showed out there, and then he gets picked up by the Nationals. So it's like, how many times have we seen that story out of the Pacific Association? Yeah, guys get their start there, but they don't finish there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, last year, I think, well, I know last year we broke a Pacific Association record. We had 13 guys called up, 3 of them to affiliate ball clubs, and the other 10 ended up going to either the American Association, Frontier League, or the Atlantic League. So, just the caliber of baseball. as a former Division I athlete as well, played in a regional at Ole Miss. You see first rounders, you see good talent, you see that, and so that's all here. And it's just good to see people just, there's different mentality playing independent baseball because every day essentially could be your last day. And so when you have that,
you're on day contracts, bro.
you're like
every day is a new contract.
So it's when with that mentality, imagine going to work where this is literally the only day you have to worry about, but it's so hard because you are worried, you are trying to plan for the rest of the week, but you can't do that. You got to kind of shut that all out and focus in on what's at hand. Anyhow, just to wrap this up, in the saga of Matt Hibbert, Hiberachi,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What's the next goal? What are you doing? What are you trying to do with your career?
Man, that's a great question. I get asked that frequently, man, and I have my goals, personal goals. Yeah, like I believe I can play at the big league level. Like I've played against guys that are there. I think I can play there. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to determine my career on whether I make it or not to the big leagues. Like I know I have big league talent, so wherever I bring this type of mentality and just myself, man, like I'm doing good things. So I think just the more that I've kind of made this more or less not about myself. You know what I mean? I've almost taken, like, I have my own personal goals, but, like, just to see, like, my reach because of me just going about how I do every day, just working, looking for the next opportunity, I feel like it's inspiring to people. So on a personal goal thing, like, I just have that chip on my shoulder still. I think I can play at the highest level in a lot of places, whether, be overseas. So I love getting paid to play this game. And, I know that I'm going to be in this game regardless, whenever that playing career ends, I'm going to be in this game, giving it to the next people. So personal goals, man, just keep grinding every day. I'm out in Illinois right now playing in the City of Champions Cup League out of Joliet, kind of a league that got formed. So I'm playing with dudes who just got drafted, guys who, play in the Frontier League, guys who just got released with this whole wave of, guys getting released, from every organization. So I'm in there with 23, 24, 25-year-olds. They're just hungry, looking for what they're going to do next. And I'm shocking them. They're like, 31? Like, why are you still doing this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's up with you? And they're like, oh, I never could have guessed. So funny story. Yeah, I'm actually, I'm back in the infield now. I'm playing 2B. They're a lot of guys in the outfield right now. The manager, Corky Miller, he's a catching coordinator with the Reds. Currently, he approached me early on. He's like, hey, man, I'm going to need you to be in the infield. So I've been getting my work in the infield. And just before I came out here, I happened to just pick up the infield glove and just get back in there, rolling my double plays, doing my, I didn't really know why. I didn't think I was going to be playing second base for a professional team coming up soon, but here I am. I got my one start. I got to start on Saturday and made some plays, and it was fun. Like, playing baseball was fun. So, yeah, man, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going and keep grinding out to the body's healthy. I don't have anything really holding me back, and I still feel myself getting better and learning. And I credit to different places like out in Arizona. There's a place called Fuel Factory. It's ran by John Huizinga, and you got big league arms in there, just throwing pens, live at bats, and it's just. So then you get in there, bro. You're facing guys, and you're getting that blood flowing. You're like, and then you start barreling some balls. You're like, okay, like, this is it. So I don't know, man. I feel like the work's still out there. I'm still finding ways to work, and I just want to just be an example of just someone who just unwavering, just went after it. Whatever the goal was, he was fluid with it, and whatever came his way, he was ready to pounce on it. So I'm making it more or less not about myself, just about others and seeing them the journey. And I think me just going about things the right way is going to inspire the next person, and good things will happen for me too. I just feel like I got more juice, man. We talked about it, just
The juice.
who got the juice. I feel like I got juice still, and
Yeah.
I still got a chip on my shoulder. Like, I got a chip on my shoulder last year. Like. You add it,
It's never gonna go away, and
it's not.
That's a great personality, and to have mentality. And it shouldn't go away regardless of whatever happens in your career, I mean, that's just it. That's what sets you apart from everybody else. And you know, you know, as a friend of mine, and just as a role model, because that's what you are doing. You are role modeling for others. Um, it's that consistent, everyday getting after it, and that's all we can do because that's all we can control. Um, so I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying, and through this story of the ups and downs. I mean, that's just it. It's not riding the ups and downs that hard, even though we do feel them. It's just trying to be right in the middle of everything emotionally, even though at frankly at times we are emotional, and we do, it does hit us hard.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just doing the best you can to control it, to then push it to the side, and then, all right, this is the goal at hand, this is what I'm trying to do, this is how I'm going to be a better person. And right now, I applaud you really for taking this time to still do what you love, but also show other young players the right way to go about it, because they are learning from you. I mean, just period. And also the people watching this, and our fans and young players, and you name it. I hope they really, listen to what you have to say, because this is a man with a lot of experience and perseverance.
Man, I just appreciate you, reaching out and having me on here, bro. You know, you've been in them trenches with me. You know what I mean? So many nights of just, like, you know what I mean? Like, could have damn near gave up, like that frustrated with whatever's going on. But like, you have good people, good support system. You link up with people that are on this journey with you and are in the same boat. But like, like I'm going through this right now, and being able to share things and being open, man, I think that just helps us all. You don't know how you're going to pick up the next person, and shit, man. Just watching how you went about your business, man, it inspired me at times, and I know it's inspired someone that's been behind you, the next man up. So, I think once we all kind of see that it's bigger than us, we're trying to pass this great game, to the next generation. Um, it becomes fun. It becomes fun.
For sure. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll be in touch. We'll be following what you're doing out there in Joliet, Illinois. And then, when we can have a normal full size season in 2021, it'll be great to see, what happens with you then.
Yeah, bro. Keep doing big things. It's good to see your journey as well, man.